Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, Amy?
I don't say it as well as Paul does.
That's all right. So today is a Paul-free anabolic bodybuilding podcast. Just
he
me,
trusted
Amy, and
us.
Yes. Yes, I think we're going to do all right. So be a lot of fun. We're still going to take questions. So anybody who wants to drop questions, we'll eventually get into that at some point. And yeah, Paul's hanging out right now. I think he's on his way back from Masters Nationals. He had a busy week and weekend. Sounds like he did pretty good for himself and his clients. So that's always exciting. I think he said he had about eight guys in the show.
Yeah, that was crazy. Must have been a really busy weekend for him. I'm excited to see kind of his recap and hear how everything went from his standpoint.
Yeah,
it should be that show. I mean, like the pictures he was posting of some of the Masters categories yesterday in bikini with like more than 20 competitors in like a 60 to 65 class. Like it's crazy. Yeah. Like it's a huge show.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes from like midweek all the way through the weekend or something like that. It's like a 4 or 5 day show, ain't it?
I think it starts Wednesday. Yeah. So it's a 4-day show. Yeah.
Yeah. And having a lot of work, you know, that's it's tough having one or two people you got to worry about in the show, you know, keeping people's emotions together, keeping everything going, you know, making sure everyone's on top of their game when they don't have two brain cells because they're so dieted down. It must be tough, but it's anyone can do it. Paul can do it, that's for sure.
Well, and add to that too the fact that he's like, you know, well known in the bodybuilding community, so he's trying to take care of his athletes, but I'm sure he's being like mobbed by people.
Yeah.
But his 1 year too. I mean, this is the show he went pro at last year.
Yeah, so it's good for him to make an appearance there. It's everybody recognizes him when he goes to my shows in New England. Everybody runs up to him, knows who he is. So it's that's awesome to see, you know. But I think they said I think last year he said it was like 1,100 competitors in the Masters Nationals. So
Tina was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tina competed there too. Hey, Tina.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a huge show.
Yeah.
Well, before we get too far into it, I think I want to just give a shout out to Joshua Perry, our favorite troll, that his father passed away, and wishing you all the best, Josh. I hope it was.
Thinking of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Well, something, Dave, I wanted to kind of chat about and interested to get your take, not only because you're a coach, but also you have a wife who competes. And I don't know who brought it up, but I know that all of the female podcasters I follow in the bodybuilding world were talking about it this week, is that there was apparently someone who was floating out that there should be weight caps on the women's divisions.
Mm-hmm.
And the chaos that has ensued by the even suggestion of that. I mean, I have my thoughts on it. What do you think? I mean, what do you think? Like I said, coming from someone who's married to a female competitor,
right,
and also being a coach, what do you think that would do to women during prep?
Well, you know, there is a nice part to weight caps in kind of the amateur divisions, of course, where, you know, you're really separating some of the, like, give you an example for the men's divisions, right? Men's bodybuilding, you have from the bantamweight up to the super heavies, you know, so being able to split up people by weight, so you're actually comparing apples to apples in somewhat of a weight class is beneficial, and it's good for the competitors, because then you have your overall at the end, you know, so you can have the bantamweight and the lightweight and light heavies go up against the super heavies, so that's kind of nice. The suck part about weight classes is it doesn't always allow you to put your best, you know, if you're too preoccupied with a weight cap, you're trying to hit a number on the scale. That's the part of bodybuilding I'm not a fan of, is, you know, having a scale, a number that you have to go for. It's, you know, presenting your best physique regardless of the scale, because we all know the judges don't have you walk on stage and the first thing you do before you get into your pose is jump on a scale, and they don't ask you how much you bench and how much you squat. They just want to see how you look and how well you put together your physique. So there's, I think, pluses and minuses, because in the women's division, you know, I'm familiar with it obviously in the men's division, but in the women's, you know, not to sound I don't really know the word for it, but like some women get very much into the scale. They get too preoccupied.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
that's the negative when you already have a lot going through your head as a competitor. You know, you're worried about, am I going to look good? Am I going to make it there on time for show day? You know, you got everything to worry about from these girls have all the different accessories that they're going to try to put together, makeup, a lot. They have a lot more than men to be prepared for show day.
Hair. Yeah.
Hair, you name it. Yeah, absolutely. Heels. They got to do this whole routine in heels in some of these divisions as well. So, but the nice thing is I do think, you know, kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they do put girls already in height classes, which
Yep.
makes things very nice for fair comparisons from person to person. So, I don't know. As long as it doesn't, honestly, I don't have anything that pops in my head telling me I'm against it as much as, if it makes the shows honestly any longer and more drawn than they have to be, I'm not a big fan of that. But if it makes it more competitive and you're getting the best people at the end of the show holding up the trophies, I think that's something that's positive at the end too. So this is new to me. I haven't really heard about the weight. You know, I like the height part. You know, I could imagine someone like Jackie who's like 5'6", if she's going up against a 6-foot girl on her left, and then she's got a 5'1" girl on her right. It is hard to kind of compare shape. It is hard to compare their structures a little bit. I think kind of putting apples to apples sometimes is really nice, but I don't think you need to have the weight classes necessarily. I kind of like the way it's put together. It makes more sense when you're doing men because we're kind of looking for muscularity. Like the top tier of things you're looking for is size, roundness, muscularity, where that's not really always the criteria in every women's.
Yeah.
Almost every division in men's, they're kind of looking for that in some sense of the comparisons, you know?
Yeah, I doubt it would. I'd be shocked if it actually became a thing because I feel like there would be so much outcry from female competitors because women's weight is so much different than men's weight. And it can be, Tina actually commented that for premenopausal women, the menstrual cycle could play havoc on a weight cap. I mean, absolutely. Like,
Good point.
I feel like it would lead to really like more extreme drug use in female categories, trying to completely crash estrogen to prevent any type of menstruation, I feel like would be the goal. Whereas, you know, a lot of women can keep their cycle throughout their prep. I feel like if there was a weight cap that they would be trying to squash it because you would be terrified of having your cycle come or even like a phantom cycle show up where your weight might go up like 6 pounds, even though your look might not change that much. Like the amount of weight that women can hold during menstruation is for some women extreme. And I think that could be a huge problem. And I think it could lead to a lot of like extreme dieting, extreme drug use, extreme obsession, and then ultimately into like a lot of people struggling with like legitimate eating disorders afterward. There was an interesting, let's see if I can share my screen to show. There was actually one of the suit manufacturers did a survey, and they do it. I think they might do it every year, but this was from last year. So they took women, and like this is not based on height. So this was just asking like what their average stage weight was.
Right.
And this is going to be primarily like, this is a suit manufacturer that primarily does bikini and wellness suits. I don't even think they do figure suits like they might. So these are looking at bikini and wellness competitors, you know, just to kind of see where people sat on the scale. Which is kind of interesting to see, you know, that, you know, there's kind of a range.
Well, you're seeing first thing that jumps out to me though is if you look at the average, if you look at the average weight though, from 100 pounds to what was it, 130, if you go up to the slide above, you get 75% of the women in that spectrum. So I mean, I'd wonder if you'd have some really kind of small classes on the smaller girls and small classes on the bigger girls, and then you're just going to have a lumped in big section of girls that are from 100 to 130 range, you know?
Right. I mean, it would be so huge. Like you said, I mean, like the group here that, I mean, puts up more than almost 60% is someone from 110 to 129 pounds is 60% of competitors. Whereas, you know, if you look at like the height, you know, the average, these are the average by height, you know, and I think it does kind of show that like the height class does kind of have this weight fluctuation in it, but it's not that great. I mean, we're looking at a difference of just a couple of pounds per inch. You know, it's not like it's huge. I mean, the difference between the shortest weight class and the, you know, is 36 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that big, but yeah, I think it would it would I would just worry about what it would do more so to the drug use in the sport, I think is what would be, the biggest issue.
You already see with the men, they're kind of sometimes sacrificing their look in like classic to hit a weight class, to stay within their weight class. Because they don't have an option to just like go up to the taller weight class. They have to just go to open bodybuilding. So that I don't like that part. I like being able to see people's best show up on stage, kind of regardless of weight to a point. But no, I agree with you. Yeah, I think women would unfortunately feel they'd be put in a position to push themselves a little further with some of the dangerous aspects of this sport, trying to just nail something on the scale. And it seems like you look at that chart, the height is almost kind of breaking people up anyways in weight on its own. What was the argument for the benefit of the weight classes?
I think just to try it, like you were saying, like to make things more competitive, right?
Yeah.
To be just like with I think the same argument for men, but women are not tiny men, at the end of the day, and our categories aren't judged the same way. So much of it, like you were saying, is, about the presentation. I mean, look at even like the subtle differences between, like let's say fit model and bikini and wellness. All these categories could look very similar to someone with an untrained eye, but the nuance comes in some of the posing differences and the glam, like the level of glam on some of them. So, and I mean, you and I, Dave, were chatting before we started about how much you can manipulate your physique through posing.
Right.
And I think that you shouldn't be able, I mean, the one thing that really frustrates me, especially at local level competitions, is when you see, oh, there's Scott. When you see, hey, Scott.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Dave.
What's up, Scott?
Anyone in a category who, or like for women, a woman who enters figure and bikini and she wins both of her classes. I'm like, ugh. Like it shouldn't just be posing that makes the difference in the physique. So I think maybe to prevent crossover also, could be part of it. But yeah. So Scott, we were talking about you before we went live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we wanted to hear what you thought of your physique review on Blood, Sweat, and Gear.
Oh, it was really cool to be featured. I really like those guys. I thought I didn't necessarily agree with some of the feedback. Like they said, I'm really balanced, but I actually think my chest is really behind. And then they said, like I need to pull in the midsection, but, which is true in those shots, but like for me, midsection is the last place to come in. And it was the same thing last year. It was like, I can't pull a vacuum because I have asthma, so I have a really weak TBA. And just like on show day when I'm really dry, it's like really, really easy for my waist to be like super small. So
yeah, that was the first thing that popped in my head was, you still have a little more time where your waist should tighten up a little bit by the time you step on stage, and maybe just a little bit of a shift in the hips, just in the smallest amount of way to kind of give that illusion. But they were openly saying you look excellent. We're being nitpicky if we had to find something to fix. So I thought you looked great, but that's definitely good info. And then like if I could add on the pictures that you submitted to them,
please.
Any way you can get a little more width from the front and the lats is only going to make that waist a little bit smaller by the time you're on the stage. So that's a little bit of building, that's a little bit of posing, that's a little bit of illusion all put together kind of can fix that problem.
Totally. I definitely need to work on that, especially in the front double, just getting my lats out more. It's definitely at least partly a posing thing. And the hip shift, I forgot they said that, but I was working on that this morning, definitely.
Nice.
And then they said, I should have clarified. I said I was 5'9", but I'm actually 5'9.5". So weight cap isn't 194; it's 202. That half inch helps me out.
We were just talking about weights and competitors.
So I had a question about the female thing. What is it? Certain categories they're proposing it for, or it's just an open question?
Yeah, it's kind of just floated out there like that it would apply to all categories, and like it caused quite a stir amongst the female competitors that I follow. I do think, and one of the things that they that they also said was that they could see it more if it was just in like the larger categories for women, kind of like for men, like if it was just for women's physique or, women's bodybuilding. But I feel like there's so few competitors, unfortunately, in those categories that, it might limit things even. It would just, you would just be shifting people around. You'd shift the same 6 people just ever so slightly, but you're still kind of comparing them all. But yeah.
So would the idea be for, like, let's say they put it in for women's bodybuilding, would there be like a cap for how much you can weigh? Otherwise you're what? You can't be in women's bodybuilding? What? Or is there like multiple weights of women's bodybuilding? I'm confused.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where everybody's at, because it doesn't make the same sense that it does necessarily for the men's categories. I don't really think it, and I think the backlash has been intense enough that I don't think it's going to go anywhere, hopefully. I mean, as I mentioned to Dave, my concern would just be that it would really lead to extremes in especially potential for drug use and really disordered eating and, some...
I think it's super dangerous. I come from the world of rowing, and they had women's lightweight rowing, even in high school. And there were girls who were very sick and had very bad eating disorders, and girls who got hospitalized. So I think just building off that experience, I think it's really dumb and dangerous. And then the other thing is the difference between men's and women's categories in bodybuilding, other than men's physique, and I'm talking about board shorts, not classic physique, is the criteria for 212, classic, and open is exactly the same. People say so-and-so is classic, so-and-so is open. They're wrong. If you read the criteria on the NPC website or on the IFBB website, it is exactly the same. There is no difference between how the categories are judged other than a weight. Women's, very different. There's very different criteria for figure versus bikini versus wellness. I mean, it's a little subtle between wellness and bikini, but the point is there's different criteria. For men's bodybuilding categories, the criteria are the same. So that's a big difference. The weight is the only thing separating a classic guy from an open guy. People like to say, oh, they're judging classic like it's bodybuilding. Yes, that's because that's what the criteria are. Like, that's how it should be judged according to the criteria.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the more I think of it, I feel like you wouldn't be getting any more competitive putting, like you said, if a girl can't hit a height and a weight, she might not be able to compete in the division she's looking for, which is kind of the problem that's the only problem I see with classic is you get a scenario. Well, it looks like we lost Scott, but
We lost Scott.
I think that's kind of the problem we've seen with classic bodybuilding is sometimes, these guys don't hit their weight cap and they can't move up because of their height that they're restricted to. So they're out of classic. We just had, what was it? The Dubai show. I think it was, I forget which one. It might've been the M Pro or the Dubai show. But they had a classic guy that went to open I think he placed in the top 4. It looked very good. But that put him in a position to have to compete on that very day into something he wasn't preparing for,
Right.
And if you're a good coach, if you're a good coach, you're going to try to make sure you overshoot a little bit to make sure that you're getting into these areas, and that just makes it a little more dangerous too.
Yeah. I think Paul had a competitor this season actually that happened to, who didn't make weight, and so he jumped into bodybuilding. And that if you've got a category to go into, that's great. But what if you don't?
Yeah.
And then you just can't compete. I think for me too, being such a tall athlete, I mean, I look at it, okay, so let's say the weight cap, whatever that was, if I was going up against someone who was like 5'3", and we just happened to be the same weight, I mean, I already feel like I'm disadvantaged being so tall because I already look less muscled against a short person. I mean, you take, that on that list that we looked at, like that person who's 4'11" might look like they have more muscle than me, even though they weigh 30 pounds less than me. I just like it even then I would feel even more disadvantaged if I'm going up against somebody who's just tiny but has these super full muscles, that I could never get that same look just based on the length of my levers and my height. It's just without taking like tons of assistance to get that same look on my huge frame compared to her tiny frame. Like it just,
Yeah.
I think it would really, it would be tough. And I don't necessarily know that there's as much, I mean, there is, the height variances in men's categories, but it doesn't seem quite as extreme.
Yeah.
That most
Yeah.
men who compete are within, let's say 5'9" to 6'2", is kind of like that range, not 4'11" to 6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
That's
see it
nice,
going anywhere. Hopefully it doesn't, because you wouldn't want to see also a scenario like yourself if you try to make the improvements so you can beat that girl that's smaller. That's you might be growing yourself out of the criteria they're looking for,
Right.
or ruining the line that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then having to do like aggressively diet to fit a weight category. I mean, it would be really hard. And then as Tina mentioned, I mean, you throw in the hormonal fluctuations as a woman and just all that other stuff. I mean, I think it could set up a really unpleasant prep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point, Amy, like you're in a certain, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I've heard from women is they're in a certain category because they like that category. They like the way it looks. They like the criteria. They like the poise. They like the image. They want to present themselves that way. And to have to grow out of that category because of your weight, it's a lot more natural in men's. Like if you're a great classic physique bodybuilder and you gain 30 pounds and you can't make the weight cap, you're going to be a great open bodybuilder. Like
Right.
you are, because the criteria are the same. It's shape, size, and condition. Same three things. But if you're an awesome bikini competitor and you get too big for a bikini and you have to do like figure or women's physique, you might not like the way you have to present yourself, and that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true, Scott. That's so true. Like there's just a lot more nuance to the women's categories in those senses too, because you have to like your off-season physique. It's not just get bigger, because there are such specific things, especially with categories like wellness and figure, where it's not necessarily about balance top to bottom. You're looking for some asymmetry. So if you don't naturally like having a larger upper body or don't naturally want to have really big glutes in your off season, those categories are not going to be for you because it's not maintainable. So it would be rough. How many weeks out are you, Scott? Like 2, 3? You're really close.
Four now.
4.
4 from the first, and then like 5.5 from the second. It's 10 days between shows.
Wow.
Yeah. How you feeling?
10 days.
How's it going at this point for you, dude?
It's going great. Today's a high day, so a little over 1,000 grams of carbs.
That is a lot of carbs.
Yep. I mean, we're really digging. There's definitely, I have my glutes are in. I mean, as soon as we introduce even a tiny bit of AIs and drop the GH, I'm going to be very dry. But yeah, it's feeling good. I got laid off this week, which sucks. After 3 years of loyal service, it was extremely abrupt. My boss was completely emotionless. He basically was like, we're eliminating your role. I'm pulling in HR now. HR read me the terms, and then they ended the call and removed all my access. So I couldn't even message anyone I'd worked with to say goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't stay on the call. He didn't say sorry. He didn't say thank you. And it was extremely abrupt.
Awful.
Yeah. But the good news is I got a job offer. I've been recruiting and interviewing for 8 months, like very hard for new jobs. And I just got a job offer. So the timing worked out perfectly. So now I'm going to get severance and get the new job, which is very nice.
That's
terrible way to end it.
Yeah. Not good timing either.
Yeah.
Not good
timing.
timing.
Very stressful.
Yeah.
Well,
you'll get through it, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. I'll be fine. I have great support system. it was just a really tough day, and like I was really stressed for 2 hours, and then I went and trained legs, and you know how hard that is. But yeah, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's sorry that happened that way. You know, it does though make you feel like if a company's going to treat you like that, you definitely don't want anything to do with them. But that doesn't take
Oh
the
yeah,
sting out of what happens in the moment. But man,
yeah,
doesn't leave you with any warm fuzzy thoughts about a company that's going to treat you like that.
yeah. No, it's crazy, and there've been like at least 10 people I've worked with, and these are like really senior people in the company, like VPs, who have been eliminated the same way. Like
Oh, that is
I was
awful.
working with them consistently. They're doing important work. They're performing well. It's not a performance thing. And I find out that they're gone from the company by trying to Slack them and seeing account deactivated. And then I have to like ask 3 people, and they're like, oh yeah, they were let go. And there's like no announcement, no like communication. It's like, it's really not great. So
Yeah, that's terrible. Oh,
yeah, on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's the attitude. It's, you know, you got to have, it's kind of like I've told friends and people, and I try to remind myself, it's kind of like, you know, sometimes you get these bumps in the road, and it's like, you got to remember, it's almost like waking up in the morning, you stub your toe, and it's like, you can let that spiral your day for the rest of the day, but you can take 5 minutes and just say, you know what, it's over. I need to move on because I got other things. So hopefully you can digest it, get on, like you said, to the next job, and you know, just let it be a thing of the past. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy some time off until after my shows.
Yeah.
Try to start this new one after Labor Day. So
Awesome.
Oh, that's good.
heads down. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually just going to comment on that. Like, it would be weird to start a job when you were that deep into prep.
Yeah.
To have
I mean,
that be how people
hard,
meet you.
It was hard to interview this deep into prep, to be honest.
Yeah.
I had like 3 low days in a row, and then I had a 2-hour interview with like this executive coach they use for their whole executive team. And I was like dead. And I was just like asked my coach Dom, I was like, can I have like a medium day leading up to this? I really just want to perform well in this interview. It's really important to me. He was like, yeah, we can make that work. So
Like, need a little bit of brain power for this one.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. Wow.
Yeah. It's all right. There's a lot of life changes. My wife got a new job she's really excited about. We're moving in September. So exciting times ahead.
You moving to a new place? Are you still staying in the city?
We're moving. So we're in Brooklyn, which is like kind of southeast of Manhattan, one of the boroughs. And we're moving to Hoboken, which is actually closer to Manhattan, but it's just across the river in Jersey. And it's like way chiller, way calmer. Reminds me of like Boston and Cambridge a lot. And there's a lot of really good gyms over there. So we're very excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good for you.
Hopefully a little more space too would be.
Yeah.
Money's going to go a little further over there.
Yep. It will. So very excited about that. So have a good few months lined up. A lot of exciting things.
Nice. Where are your shows?
The first one's in Jersey. And then the second one is in Pittsburgh, North Americans.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. Have you ever competed in Pittsburgh, Dave?
I haven't. No.
Okay. Or been to any shows there?
No, I haven't. I know Paul has quite a few.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't. I haven't been to Pittsburgh yet. No.
I've heard so many people say good things about the Gary Udick shows.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
Yeah.
I've heard they're well run, and that, you know, everyone seems to enjoy them. And you know, I don't really care about venues as much as that it's well run. And I know that like you're getting on time on the stage, you know, getting on stage on time, and everything's like, you know, not a surprise, and hurry up and rush scenarios always suck, you know. So, I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, Dom talked me out of doing Universe. He was like, "Do North Americans, please." But Universe was better this year because they used to have Men's Physique, Classic, and Bodybuilding all on the same day. And last year, prejudging went until 4 p.m. Because there's like so many Masters guys. Universe is like the retirement show. And this year they moved Men's Physique to a different day, so it was much better.
Nice. Yeah, the universe, I went to that's where Jackie went pro. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, it was pretty good for, at least for the day I stayed was for the women's divisions. And
Cool.
yeah, they did all right. It's a small area, you know, like a small little convention
Yeah.
hotel, little convention room. But yeah, that one's nice.
I go to a lot of shows there in Teaneck.
I meant to ask you, when we last talked, you're not much of one for sleep, so I was kind of curious of how is your sleep and rest at these points of show preps? You know, when you get sleep, it's tough for anyone, but I know you said that you were kind of an insomniac for a while.
Yeah, I've struggled with insomnia my whole life. Starting trazodone, the sleep medication, in 2022 was a big game changer for me. That has pretty much gotten rid of my insomnia, I'd say. And then in prep, what seems to happen is I go from needing like 9 hours of sleep in the off season to like now I'm getting like 6.5 and feeling very well rested. And that's partly all the stimulants I'm on. Trend doesn't really seem to affect my sleep, thankfully. But yeah, I'm using trazodone, I'm using nabivolol to try to just get my heart rate down, get more parasympathetic at night. And that seems to be working pretty well.
Yeah. You know, one thing I notice with people too, with it seems so simple in like kind of kumbaya-ish of an approach, but getting yourself set up for sleep, like, so two things, routine, you know, bedtime, wake time, those are easy things, but before you get to tell yourself, hey, I'm like an hour from going to bed, doing the little things like getting yourself in a relaxed state, like making sure I'm not watching like an action-packed movie, something more relaxed. I mean, it seems so simple, making sure lights are kind of turned off. I'm kind of like getting that unwinding sensation going on. I've noticed with a lot of my clients, just kind of re-emphasizing that's part of your rest is like, you know, you warm up to go into the gym, like you prepare to get your food ready.
Totally.
Why wouldn't you be preparing to make sure that rest and recovery is in a good position too? Because, you know, we got a lot going on, especially with some of the men with, you know, you're introducing trenbolone, you got these stimulants that get high, you know, get higher even as you get closer to the show. You're just constantly in this fight and flight mode. And it's like, you got to do something to prepare yourself to kind of wind down at the end of the night. So I've noticed that helps me. Just kind of building a routine definitely helps. My body starts to react to it.
Yeah. The last 2 hours before bed for me are extremely scheduled.
Yeah.
And that seems to help me really well. It's like 7:30. I have my last meal. From 7:30 to 8:30, I'll watch TV. I'll take all my PM sups at like 8:30. I brush my teeth. After that, there's no blue light. There's no screens. My blue light blockers are on. AC is up. I'm chilling out. 9 o'clock, I take my trazodone. I take my growth hormone, and then from 9 to 9:30, I'm reading a novel in bed. Using my neck massager that I bought on Amazon, and then I'm out. I'm passed out at 9:30. So
that
works
good.
really well for me.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's kind of like what Jackie and I do because we train in the evening, so we'll probably get to the gym, start training at 6, and maybe by the time we, you know, get a little cardio, talk to a few people, we're out of there by 8 o'clock. So then we get 2 more meals. And then, so we're already kind of tired from training. Then we can get home, you get your shower, and you just kind of set up your time from 8 o'clock till 10:30 to get to bed, you know, with a few meals, and it works out well. So I always try to tell people to start there, you know, before you kind of introduce like megadose and melatonin or certain other pharmaceuticals if you don't have to. Not that there's anything wrong with that by any means, but why wouldn't you pick the low-hanging fruit? You know, it's just going to build consistency in your whole daily routine as well, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I actually for about a year, I worked with a sleep PhD, Dr. Greg Potter. He's been on Steve Hall's Revive Stronger podcast a bunch. And he helped me with a lot of that stuff. We actually did sleep restriction therapy, which is like one of the clinically backed most effective ways for insomnia, where like, let's say you go to bed for 8 hours, but you're only asleep for 6. you'll then have a sleep restriction window of 5 hours. You're only allowed to be in bed for 5 hours a night until you get to 100% sleep efficiency. And then you gradually add 15 minutes at a time. It's kind of torturous, like, you know, forced sleep deprivation. But we went through that. We did a bunch of different routines. He is not a fan of sleep trackers at all. He's a much bigger fan of qualitative sleep tracking. He thinks it's more accurate and better for mental health. So I got rid of my Oura Ring, which I'd used for like 5 years. And you just rate like, how well did I sleep? How well rested did I feel? How long did it take me to fall asleep? Like metrics like that, I think are just as effective as any sleep tracker.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, because, you know, your phone can tell you whatever metrics, but if you don't feel rested and recovered, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Pointless data, you know.
And most of them are horribly inaccurate. Like the Oura Ring is the best. I think it's only 80% accurate in independent lab tests. Like the iPhone and Apple Watch are much lower. They're like 50 or 60%.
Yeah.
Well, and how that can skew your perception of your day too.
Yeah.
You know, I do wear an Oura Ring, and I don't use it specifically for the sleep tracking, but I do look at it. And there was a day, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, where my sleep score was like a 92, and I'm like, man, I felt like I didn't sleep all night long. You know, so like, but you see that, and then you're like, well, maybe I am really well rested. Like,
yeah.
Why don't I just go with how I actually feel versus what this little thing is telling me?
Another tip for insomniacs that I found really helpful, it's just a mental shift, which is like, if you have a bad night's sleep or a couple bad nights sleep, like trust that your body will find a way to get the rest it needs. So you say to yourself, you know, I haven't slept well the last 2 nights, but my body will get the rest it needs one way or another. And like that assurance can help a lot. It sounds kind of out there, but it really helped me, because it's really easy to get into a pattern of neuroticism. Oh, I didn't sleep well. Oh, now I'm ruined. Oh, I'm not going to sleep well the next night. You know, I think having kind of like a level head that things will work themselves out over the long term can be helpful.
Yeah, like some neutrality with it. Kind of like with the scale, you know, like you kind of have to just take this as like things are going to be all right. Like we're going to find our place. Yeah.
Control what you can control.
Yeah, I think too, one thing that's kind of funny is working with a lot of different people when it comes to, because we ask these things as coaches, you know, how's your rest? How's your sleep? What is it? How many hours did you at least get, you know, for sleep? Some people don't really realize, they're always saying, I slept great. I slept great. You know, some people don't realize until they have a good night's sleep, or they really start building these better habits, that they weren't having the best rest and recovery.
Yeah.
You know, and I can say I was one of those people myself. And I mean, I can chalk it up to my CPAP was a huge thing for me. Like that. I was kind of, and to be completely honest, I was like a macho kind of like mentality. I don't want my wife to lay next to me and think she's sleeping next to Darth Vader, like having that thing on, right? But until I got over and realized it's only going to benefit me, you know, my health, and like it's a huge silent killer, not, you know, having sleep apnea.
Oh yeah.
But all those, I didn't realize what a good night's rest was for years until I finally had it back, you know, and then put some, you know, basic routines into play. And then, man, what a game changer it really is. So, yeah, it's pretty funny how some people just don't realize, like, kind of like training. They're like, oh, my training's great, until you see their videos, and then you realize it's not the case.
Yeah, it just becomes your normal.
Reddit Daddy himself has joined us.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Chase.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. We're just having some lunch.
Aw, lunchtime. Hello. Hey, Anna.
What a cutie.
Oh, she's like, nice Jim.
Oh, look at your car over there. I see your car. You guys just moved. How's it going, Chase? Like, you loving the new place?
I mean, it's great, but we're still kind of unpacking stuff. It's still a mess, but we'll get there eventually.
You and Tommy both moved at the same time, practically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I figured I had some time. I'd just hop on and see what's going on.
Cool.
We were talking about sleeping.
Your car
what?
videos, Chase, lately have been awesome. I really am enjoying them.
Yeah, it's funny what comes out during those. You just start rambling, and the next thing you know, you're deep into something, and then it pops off. I don't know.
You're very introspective. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate the way on some of those videos too. You really get into each comment with different people, you know, and like really helping them. Like a lot of the times, you get comments from people on Instagram or YouTube, and it's like, I swear I've gone over this a million times. And you have the patience to kind of reiterate or paint the picture in a different light so they can understand where you're coming from. And I'm sure it's frustrating, but you're definitely nailing it. You know, it can be frustrating for sure.
It can be. It can definitely be. What's up, Dean? Yeah, no, I've probably answered the same questions 100 times at this point. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like the more you do it, you always tend to think of a different way to like explain it, and then you learn it better yourself. And I don't know. But it does sometimes. It's just like, man, I don't want to talk about this again.
Yeah.
Or
I was going to ask you
your announcement about the Cagrillan-tide too, Chase. I think that's really cool. I just started it last week, actually.
Yeah, that blend. Yeah.
Have you noticed much of a difference, Scott?
Oh yeah, it nukes your appetite. It is
really
very effective. Yeah, I mean, I'm eating like 1,000 grams of carbs a few days a week, and I'm still starving. And I was up to 12 milligrams of Retta a week, and it wasn't doing the trick. And so my coach was like, yeah, let's start Cagrillan-tide, lower the Retta. He also had me introduce Sema, so having all three at once. And now it's working very well.
Yeah, it's interesting how some people, you know, are super sensitive to it, and then some people, you know, they just, it takes the right combination, or it takes, you know, a certain dose, and you know, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people get caught up with comparing their doses to other people, and I mean, it's the same thing with steroids. Like, people are like, well, I'm using less than you, I'm better than you, or whatever. It is what it is. It's the dose you got to take to get the result that you want, you know? So you do what you got to do, and that's what you got to do. So, yeah. But Cagrillan-tide, it definitely nukes appetite in a different kind of way.
Yeah, I can say for like myself, I've never had to go past like I think it's 2.8 or 2.7 or something. No matter what I need to do.
Yeah, I feel like with competitors, I feel like that's way more common. Is they tend to respond a lot better to a lower dose, but there's a few of us where it's like we got to kind of crank it up, and like I'm doing like 1 milligram a day at this point, but this is kind of where the max that I went to last year. So I don't know if I end up having, you know, to use more, I'll use more, but I'll probably stick at this spot for a decent amount of time. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. What?
Scott, how do you feel? Because on your last prep, did you use tirzepatide?
I used just Sema last prep.
Oh, you just used Sema. So you did the Retta, and then now doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Do you feel like digestively that things are pretty similar between all of them? Like, has that?
So I actually had to drop the Sema like right away, because that was
stopped everything.
Yeah, that was giving me a lot of gas and bloating. So now I'm just doing Retta and the Cagrillan-tide. But yeah, the Sema, for some reason, the Sema set me off. So, but yeah, digestion's excellent. I mean, like I said, I was eating 1,000 grams of carbs like 3 days a week on 12 milligrams of Retta a week, and digestion was excellent, and I was starving. So
yeah,
I'm just hypo responder, as Chase would say.
Right.
But with the Cagrillan-tide, it's great. No appetite.
Yeah, something interesting I've heard also pretty commonly is that people have found sometimes the more Retta they end up taking, the bigger their appetite tends to get. Which, you know, I don't know if that has something to do with the glucagon or not. What, you want this?
Yeah, like the heart rate stimulation or something.
Yeah, that's interesting. That would be very interesting to see if that is, if you see that when the final like trial data is released. Because I feel like with a lot of these GLPs, there is almost this tipping point of like more does not make more result.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and where you land on that scale is different, but
Right.
pushing it doesn't seem to push it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it's like you start taking more and you just become less responsive to it. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, specifically with Retta, I've heard the appetite thing is kind of opposite sometimes, where they'll even on a small dose, their appetite will just go through the roof and they'll be like, well, this wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's at the end of the day, it's they're all research chemicals at this point. So you got to be a good researcher and find your dose, you know? So what?
Well,
Yeah,
like,
now I'm doing 2 milligrams of Retta 3 times a week and 0.5 milligrams of cagrilintide 3 times a week, and that's perfect for me.
Nice.
well, it's like Justin Harris says, you know, Grelin always wins at one point. So maybe you get a long enough duration and just hunger takes over. It overrides that system in your brain. And, you know, I do think some people put themselves in a tough position where they escalate that. They don't give time for the dose to do its job. They just keep going up and up and up. And they're like, oh, it's working because I'm getting appetite suppression. Well, of course it is. You keep upping your dose every single week. You know, for me, for example, and now I love the way Chase puts it. This is my dose that works for me, for my scenario. But 20 weeks out, I started Retta at 700 micrograms 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm only up to 900, and I'm 11 weeks out now, and that's all and it works to the chance. Do I still get hungry? Yeah, of course, but very manageable. I mean, a part of me almost says, I was thinking about this. I get up really early to do my cardio, and I get time to kind of think to myself. And I was telling myself, am I having more fun without having the hunger, or do I kind of miss the hunger?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I miss the suffering a little.
Yeah, because I mean, that's where you really feel the grit of everything that you're going through to a point, you know. But some people can't handle the hunger too much because they just get into this point of really strict for a week or two and then binge off the rails and then back and forth, and it's this roller coaster. So yeah, they're all tools, and I think I think if anyone's going to try it too, maybe not show prep your first shot right off the bat. Maybe try it off in an off-season scenario, see how you react, what your doses are, how you got to escalate them. And the only negative I've seen is I do feel full pretty quick. You know, I'll have an average meal like 50 carbs, 45 protein, maybe a little bit of fat, and sometimes I fill up really quick. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wolf the meal right down. You never know. But
yeah, like on days where I would do intermittent fasting, like specifically like last year, I would be so hungry by the end of the day. I'd make like this big bowl and I'd sit down and I'd get like 5 bites in, and then I'd be like, oh crap, I can't take it. Then I have all this food that I should eat, and I'm just like, and then I'll just sit there and just slowly, take an hour to eat it, and usually I wouldn't. I would put it in Tupperware and put it away and come back to it later. But yeah, it's funny how it works.
Yeah, it's one of the more individualized things. I was going to ask you, Scott, when you got up to like 12 milligrams, did you notice yourself looking flatter and flatter? Like, did you notice yourself in a flatter state than normal? Because I've seen that with some, and I've seen it not with myself, and some other people stay just full.
So hard to say. I've stayed really, really full this prep. So I wouldn't say so. That's one thing I've noticed between this year and last year is like, even at my flattest, my physique looks a lot more full.
Yeah. Well, you've grown some muscle.
Yeah. I think it's that. I think it's the way we're doing refeeds, using insulin on refeeds. I didn't do that last year. Keeping the GH a little bit higher, all those things.
Yeah, those things will keep you fuller, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Which psychologically is also good. I mean, the whole adage that you've got to get flat in prep, I don't know that's some people struggle with that more than others. Like, just that look can get kind of in your head.
Yeah.
So if you can keep a fuller look, keeps your mind in the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think you're right though, Dave, are you out of here, Scott?
I got to drop. Yeah.
All right. It was great talking to
you. You all. Thank you. Bye.
Good day. You know, that it's almost like, like your ocular prescription, like you're always kind of, at least my doctor always says, she said, you're always seeking the correction, and I think that can be the same way with these GLPs. Like you start to people get like afraid as soon as the hunger starts to come back, especially people who are not used to kind of having to dig, you know. So for those of us who bodybuild, like you said, you kind of almost, there's something about being in prep where you feel like you have to feel it, you know, like that hunger gives you that, you know, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
You know, when you wake up and you feel like your body's trying to eat itself, like, yes, like this is the goal. So if that's never there, I think that kind of can get in a competitor's head. Whereas the exact opposite can happen to somebody on the lifestyle side, that like as soon as they start to feel that, they've gotten so used to it that now they need more, you know, like you're kind of always seeking the correction at a certain point.
Yeah. I also feel like, I feel like that's also a big reason why it's becoming such like a popular thing in the bodybuilding community. Cause like bodybuilders are so used to just, well, when they're prepping, like just always being hungry. And it's like, when you take that away and then it comes back just a little bit, they're like, this isn't bad at all. I'm just like, I barely feel any hunger at all. So it just makes it easier for them to just keep on driving, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
You know, I feel some people got to decide what they're looking for out of these GLPs too. Are you looking for, I don't think it's the best fat burner. You know, it's not necessarily, like, I understand the glucagon is a fat burner too, but the reality is I'm looking for just some food noise to be suppressed. I'll diet myself off with the calories and create a deficit with cardio and train well. You know, that's going to get the fat to drop off of me. If I'm expecting the drug to do all the trick, I think people will be a little disappointed, and that's where they're going to chase these doses up and have some issues over time, you know.
Yeah.
Or tell you, hey, it's not working because you haven't changed your diet. You know, you haven't changed anything at all. I see that all the time. I mean,
that's what's hilarious is like nothing changes before it and or like after it, and they're just like, why am I not losing weight? And it's like, well, you do still have to eat less. Like you can't just like continue to eat what you were eating. Like if you weren't losing weight before, you're not gonna lose weight after, you know.
They don't negate thermodynamics. Like they don't change the thermodynamic person. Like
yeah, and as if you didn't learn your lesson the first time with like everyone that started off using their first cycle, if they don't change their diet or make sure their training's, you know, programmed for a growing scenario, and you just introduce the anabolics, you'll grow a little bit, but not optimally. You got to make sure the diet is supporting the whole process, you know. So, interesting stuff. I found it to be, you know, I like Retta a lot, but I just the first thing, you know, a while back I was not a fan just because I got so scared about the gastric paresis, you know, and luckily it hasn't had an issue with me by any means.
Man, there was one situation where it hit me incredibly hard. I don't know if it had to do with like the amount of fat that I had or if so what happened was is I ordered a like a Blizzard like ice cream, you know, like from Dairy Queen, but it was from like a local place. It was like a milkshake with like peanut butter and stuff mixed into it. And so I had this dessert, and like literally right after, I just felt my insides just like expanding, and I was just incredibly full, and then it just really started to hurt. This was probably like maybe like 6 months ago, and I was like, this is the only time that I ever felt like I was gonna either just like throw up or my stomach was gonna explode, or I don't know what was going on, but I was just like, it was everything just kept filling up so much. I was like, holy crap, like what is? And I you know, popped a couple betaine HCLs. I mean, that's better for protein, but still, I was just like, I don't know what I need to do at this point. But that was probably one of the worst pains I think I ever felt before. But like I said, it only happened once, and it only happened after that. And I don't know if it was because it just had way too much fat in it, and that slowed, like that just brought everything to a halt, or
the fat and the sugar, maybe like just the combo.
I have yet to have any like significant amount of ice cream since then, because I've just been like terrified of it now, because it's just like that was like that. I mean, hell, that's one way that it can make you have some food aversions, is that once you go through that, you're like, fuck that, that's terrible.
I think that, you know, in the early days of like people using semaglutide, I think that was a lot of it. Like people didn't want to eat because they would immediately feel nauseous. Like, so that was definitely part of it. Someone had a question for you, Chase, before I forget to ask it. What are the hydration drops you use that taste like iced tea?
It's Chris Tuttle's company. It's called Drink More. More is spelled M-O-R. But if you look up Drink More on Instagram, or if you go to Chris Tuttle's page, I'm sure he posts it all the time. But yeah, it's a great tasting electrolyte. And it's Chris Tuttle's product, so it's like I'd prefer to support the small guy as opposed to Mio or somebody like that. So, but yeah, no,
what's the electrolyte breakdown in it?
I mean, it's got a good mix of. Off the top of my head, I don't know exactly the like percentages and milligrams of stuff, but it's got a good blend of magnesium and calcium and sodium and potassium. Like it's got all four of those. But since I started using it, I feel like I've been hydrated better than ever in that I really see it on my blood work, especially like with my hematocrit has never been over like a 51. Yeah, there it is. My hematocrit hasn't been over a 51 since I started using it, regardless of whether I was taking 5 grams of test or 10 grams of test. Like it never, like just staying hydrated enough, keeping enough water in my blood to dilute down the red blood cells has been, Oh yeah, you want that? Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Since I started using that, I never had an issue with hematocrit being too high. My kidney markers have always looked better. And I mean, it could just be because I'm drinking a whole lot more because it tastes good, but it could be part of that. But still, yeah, I think it's been a good add-in. I've been using it. He started that company last year in February, and as soon as it came out, like I just happened to be looking for something, and as soon as that came out, I started buying it, and I didn't stop really. Yeah, so I think it's really good. Yeah, pretty
That's
rare.
interesting.
I was going to say that having water enhancers, that's why I've always been fine with it with clients. It just encourages them to drink more because it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. As you can tell, I live off of, I do the cheap Walmart great value brand.
It works.
They all taste good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one other question about, since we were just talking about Retta, this one from Shoko. How do most people feel mood-wise on Retta? What have you anecdotally heard back from people taking it?
I hear a lot of people will feel like they've lost joy for sure. They feel a lot more just like flatlined. And I think it definitely, of course it changes person to person, but in general, I think it does bring, because it takes away like the joy from alcohol or smoking that people get, or, any of those kinds of like addictive things. It takes the joy out of it and takes the desire to do it, but it also bleeds into a bunch of other things in life where it's like, you might not, I don't know, you might not enjoy playing video games as much as you used to, or you don't enjoy watching TV or just enjoy anything. There is a link to, depression and GLP-1s. So it's like, you do have to pay attention to that. Like if you're somebody that has been dealing with that, it might be something that you need to think about before going into, if you are somebody that deals with depression, for sure.
Yeah. I did have a client recently who was having the, kind of feelings of just like flatness and depressed mood, but said they kind of liked it because it was actually kind of helping a little bit with some, baseline anxiety. Like it was kind of taking that away, but it was also making them feel a little bit too flat.
Sure.
So it's like, well, there's a balance there of like, if it's helping with your anxiety, that's great. But if it's then making you just ultimately feel depressed, like that's not so great either. Like there's got to be a little bit in the middle. What about you, Dave? What do you see with your competitors who are using it mood-wise?
I haven't actually really heard much of, I've heard that from other people, not my own competitors necessarily yet, but it makes a whole lot of sense where, Retta is going to kind of blunt the reward system of food in the, I always pronounce it wrong, the dopaminergic part of your brain. So
that was perfect.
Yeah. So the reward sensation you get from having food and the pleasure you get from that's kind of dulled and blunted. And like like Chase says, that bleeds into other parts of your your brain chemistry as well. So even Paul mentioned on a low dose, he felt a little more, flat line, blah, kind of feeling not, generally excited as much about everything else. Myself, I haven't had an issue. Maybe I just say a little more mentally occupied, I guess. But yeah, at least there's an explanation for it, and that makes total sense, And if that also leads into other things that you would consider a vice, whether it's, I don't know, drugs, alcohol, smoking, or food itself, then I mean, it could be a positive to that as well. Yeah,
I was trying to think of that damn word the other day, vice.
Vice.
What is that word? What am I trying to come up with? Yeah,
it's like it's got me in a tight hold, like a vice. I think there could also be some potential there. And, these are obviously a very new class of drugs, but just because of the amount of serotonin that is produced in the gut, something like 90% of our serotonin is actually produced in the gut. So if we're taking something that alters gut motility or, just kind of the way things are being absorbed through our gut, is there a potential that is actually having a real effect on the amount of serotonin we're either producing and or assimilating into our bloodstream? Potentially. So, could that link be there? I mean, you look at medications like SSRIs can make people have those same feelings of extreme flatness and disinterest in life. Even though they might be used to treat depression and anxiety, they can also kind of cause that feeling of flatness in some people. So, again, I think this just goes, for me at least, goes back to not every medication is right for every person.
Oh yeah.
So, if this symptom presents in someone, like, you should definitely honor that that's a possibility, and potentially that's not the right medication for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you're someone that's very sensitive to that, if you're already dealing with some sort of scenarios of feeling a little bit dull or some sort of depressions, just be mindful. And that goes along with anything you use. You got to be careful, in my opinion, with stuff like methylene blue, for example. Or if you're already taking an SSRI, or there's other stuff that's used for like tesofensine as well. But that also has to be careful as well. That messes with your neurotransmitters as well in a certain sense. So I'm a big fan of people going off of how they feel first and foremost before I worry about what's written on the paper, at that point,
Yeah. The biofeedback component is very important for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had two. We had one other question. We did not have a lot of active questions today, but while we're all talking about, let's do this one. This is a really good one. This is from Devin TK. What's the longest you can cycle Clen? Currently on my 3rd week. I worked up to 100 micrograms as of today. Still losing about 1.5 pounds every 4 days. I only have 7 pounds left to lose in a cut.
Well, I mean,
sounds like to me you kind of worked your dosage up pretty quickly. I'm curious of what you started at, but I mean, you should be.
Oh yeah, he's only 3 weeks in at 100. Wow.
That's an aggressive ramp.
Yeah, I'd first off say right off the bat that, like, I wouldn't really, if this is your first time with Clen, I wouldn't go past that 100 micrograms. If anything, resensitize yourself, come off for like a week if you feel that you're losing the effects, or maybe a little longer, maybe 10 days, and jump back on at a lower dose and ramp yourself back up. That's just the way I like to see people use it. Is I have no problem allowing them to take some sort of breaks if we get to the dose being like 100 or 120. It's like, after that, I don't think you really need to push it any further. You need probably a break. But what's the longest? I've had people run it pretty much, 12 to 16 weeks, a whole prep, if not longer. It depends on their feedback too.
Whole prep, half a year.
I think you get a monitor
on it for a while, ramping up and down. I've definitely been on it for at least 6 months at this point. But I'm like
at the same dose?
No. Like I ramped up, and then God, how long ago did I like peak? I don't know. I'm at like 80 micrograms right now. I'm coming down from what? I don't know what you want. You want it open? Here. Coming down from 160. So I'm like at 80 now. I'll probably go down to 40 here in a couple weeks, and then start ramping it back up because the Olympia is like 11 weeks away or something like that. And then once we get there, I'll probably ramp it down and come off of it at that point. But I mean, I've always gotten a Bibelol in when I'm taking it, so my heart rate doesn't really adjust a whole lot when I'm on it. Like I don't know, like my gauge is like, as long as my sleeping heart rate is like less than 70, I'm totally fine with whatever dose I'm taking. And usually, like right now, it's like 61. Yeah, so that's kind of like my marker for whether or not I'm using too much or I need to take a break or something like that. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, and you're pretty good about keeping track of some of these metrics. I was going to say too, like, you know, your heart rate, blood pressure, you know, how's your sleep and recovery going. You know, people have to be mindful of those things as well. That's going to dictate how long you can use it.
I mean, that's just it. Is like, as long as those look good, like I don't really keep track of how long I've been on it. As long as those look good, I'm like, all right, that's fine. But there, like I said, there's going to be a point where I'm just like, it's time to take a break and just drop it all the way down and take some time off. But
see how you feel without it.
Yeah.
I think there's that myth still that some, you know, I think it used to be very much that bodybuilders thought that you would build up a sensitivity to it really quickly, that you'd had to cycle 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And I don't think that's true either. I mean, I think you might, just because the side effects go away doesn't mean that the effect is not still there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No. Yeah. Exactly. Like, you might not feel the like shakes anymore. You might not notice the, you know, jitters, the energy you might get. Yeah. The jitters or stuff. But I think in the background, it's definitely still doing its job. So.
Right. It's still working. Yeah. The function is still functioning. It just isn't giving you the side effect. But when you get used to the side effect, I mean, again, like back to our semaglutide conversation, when you get used to the side effect, potentially you're seeking the side effect, not the effect. And like just giving the effect a chance to be effective, as you've seen, Chase, it can be effective for long-term use. Yeah. Interesting.
You know, Kurt always explained that pretty well to me, is like, just because you're not feeling, you said it perfectly, side effects doesn't mean that it's not working. You know, that's not an indicator of something working. That's actually an indicator maybe of too high of a dose or too quick of an application, you know?
Right, that your body's not liking that. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Well, you take it out.
Yeah.
Take it off.
She got a lot to say today.
I don't know what she wants.
She wants to be part of the team.
I guess. No. You want out? No, you don't want out. No, but you want that off? No. Okay. You just want it.
Like, we're good. Safety first. I like it. I like a safety gal.
Yeah.
That's a good choice, Anna. Stay safe.
Yeah.
I just want to add one thing to the his question about the cleanse. So, like, in my opinion, once that sensation kind of wears off, let's say the side effect sensation at that 100 micrograms, just consider taking a break, keeping your diet tight, and then maybe ramping yourself back up at a lower starting dose again. You know, and keep in mind heart rate, keep in mind blood pressure, keep in mind your health. You know, anytime you introduce something for the first time, you got to know how it's reacting, you know, under the surface as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The blood pressure is the big one. Like, pay attention to that. I mean, above all else, like, that's going to really tell you whether or not, you know, you need to back off, because that's going to grow your heart. That's going to fuck up your kidneys. That's going to do so much, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You just want to watch.
Yeah.
Turn around.
Well, since we don't have any other questions, I had one other thing I kind of wanted to chat about. Did you guys see Chris Aceto's son won at the... He was a couple of days ago. I think he was one of the guys that won on Wednesday. Won his teen category. He looked great. Let me see if I can share it. Let's see. See if I can.
Yeah, I saw that. He's he did look awesome. Actually, he had a big increase from last year to this year.
Yeah, I think he has a side by side one of these. Let's see, it's this one from last year to this year. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he looks great.
Huh.
Yeah. Awesome.
His
looks really good.
Midsection's totally different.
Yeah. No, he's put on some. There's one of him. This one. Look at that. That is a tiny waist. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, he's got good coaching, that's for sure.
Right. He's got some, like his quads have some really beautiful symmetry. He has long femurs. Like he doesn't look like he's super tall, but his femurs are really long.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Looks really good. Yeah. Who do you guys have for your early predictions for the Olympia now that we're like under 12 weeks?
Oh boy. I'll tell you what, Nick keeps looking better and better.
Man, Nick looks crazy, man.
Yeah.
He looks amazing. Let me see if I can find his. He just posted an update. He's like 288 pounds, I think he said.
Yeah.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, Nick looks crazy.
Yeah, whether he's your cup of tea or not for physique, it's just it's amazing how quickly he changes. And 289 at that kind of lean state is just mind blowing.
I know.
Well, he's still got 11 weeks. I mean, like far different than previous preps for him.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because it's like I've been talking to him a lot lately, and the only thing that he's switched up is he started taking GLP-1s this last year, and he feels like that's kept him so much leaner going through the off season, going through his peak, for the Pittsburgh and the New York Pro. Like he said, between those two, like after the Pittsburgh, he was like, he just, everything just kept getting tighter and tighter. Like it was just, he said it's been such a big game changer for him. So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I don't feel like we've ever seen Nick look this good this far out from a big show. I mean, granted, he is like coming off of competing, but still, I mean, like, I want to see this Nick show up and see Samson looking also incredible. Hottie, I would love, just to see these guys next to each other. I mean, the level of conditioning and just the size that some of these guys have. I was on the fence. I was kind of think I wouldn't go to the O this year, but man, like the lineup is just looking so incredible. I mean,
yeah, no, I think, the top four, I think is definitely set. I don't think like Andrew's going to be able to sneak in there,
no.
But it's going to be so close. I think between all of them, it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to be really, really tough to choose. And I really hope Nick, pulls it off. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be wild though.
Yeah. It could be one of those years between Samson, Nick, Hottie, and Derek, whoever just shows up the best. It's so close. But I still think it's definitely Samson's show to still lose. He is the current champ. You got to knock him off. He's starting off in the number one position. But if he brings a little extra size and conditioning, Samson himself, I think he can just still overpower because he's just got the shape, the frame, everything. It's hard to find a negative other than a little sharper conditioning in some spots.
I think that was actually going to be my question. Do you guys feel like we've actually seen the best Samson? Even last year when he won, I feel like we still maybe haven't seen him at his very best, but I also was watching the live stream last year at the O and it was terrible and the lighting was bad. I mean, I wonder if we've seen his best. I
don't think we have. I think the main thing is just going to be whether or not he can keep his waist in, when he's hitting poses. Like that's the only thing that I see is sometimes, and sometimes it changes a lot between prejudging and finals is like his like lower abdomen, like right below his belly button. It'll either like be sticking out a lot or he'll be able to suck it in. And if they can keep like, his size and his fullness and keep that under control, like that's really hard to beat,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He is hard to beat. I mean, he's got just an incredible physique.
It makes you wonder at what point does Father Time catch up too? I mean, because he's not early 30s. Samson's almost 40, 38, 39, something like that.
Yeah, I think he is 38 or 39. Yeah. Yep.
Just goes to show, I mean, some of your best years can be in the late 30s, early 40s,
Yeah, that muscle maturity.
Yeah.
I think too, again, going back to our like height weight conversation, when you have so much frame to fill out, even pushing gear, you still have to give it a decent amount of time to like fill that much space.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people don't realize how big he is in real life. And I
Yeah.
mean, like tall too. I mean, he's over 6 foot. Like he is a much bigger person than, let's
Huge.
say, Derek.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
so big. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. Is if they all are like in similar, like the same condition, like he's just so much taller and just huge. Like it's gonna be hard to not give it to that, you know. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it'll be interesting once we see them all standing next to each other, and it's going to be impossible to tell until they do stand next to each other. So
Yeah.
it's going to be wild.
Good time to be a bodybuilding fan. I like that. Each year you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I liked I was a big Phil Heath fan and Cutler fan, but I like each time the Olympia comes around, it's like you don't know.
Oh, anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's far more entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. To have it really be a battle, like not a foregone conclusion. Yes, I agree. I mean, even at the Arnold this year, I mean, seeing Derek and Samson battle it out. I mean, what we come for. I'm actually really excited for men's physique because we have, there's gonna be a new champion after many, many years of Chris Bumstead, controlling that category.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty interesting to see. And Mike Summerfield, oh my goodness, is he coming out of his off season just in
He's
crazy shape.
Yeah. He's massive. I don't know how he's going to hit his weight class. I think he's got to be under 196 or something like that.
Man, there's other guy. His waist is so tiny, even as huge as he is right now, like coming out of his off season, like his waist is still so tiny.
Yeah.
Like just genetically.
Crazy taper. It's something else.
Yeah.
Natalia answered where Natalia was in the chat. I asked her what was her I just want to get her opinion. I asked her what was her opinion on weight classes, if she would support it in women's divisions. And so she says, not a fan. I don't think it serves any purpose. Also not opposed, but would rather not have a gap and focus on reinforcing the rules and criteria of the divisions.
Ooh, mic drop.
I think it's well said. I mean, there's nothing obvious about weight divisions that's going to make it better or more competitive. Right. I mean, you already got, when you have, like you said, at Masters Nationals, 20 women, each class up on stage in bikini. There's plenty of competition already. I mean, I don't see what's the point.
Now that I think about it, it's like, I really don't think that there should be, weight class. Like she has a good point. Like if you force weight classes, then it just forces these gaps in weight for each individual person. I don't know. I feel like it should be up to the competitor to decide what they think like classic. I think it should be up to them, the individual, to show what they think the best classic physique is and put it on stage and not be limited by some sort of weight cap. It's like, well, if you go well beyond your, whatever the weight cap is now and you look like shit, like you're not going to win. So it's like, if you go beyond it though, and you look fantastic and still classic, then yeah, I mean, you would win. So it's just kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of silly. Yeah.
Well, and like classic, if you don't put a weight class on classic, right, then it's just going to turn into a size game, just like bodybuilding. So like you said, showing me your best classic physique within your structure, your height and your weight makes a lot more sense than for women. You don't want women's division to turn into a size game,
Right. And that, Natalia makes such a great point that if we focus on the criteria, and Scott, when he was talking about it earlier, he made that point as well, like the criteria in the women's divisions are very distinct and look for things like specific types of symmetry and specific types of presentation even, whereas the men's categories don't have that as much. So, you'd be narrowing our focus back to, rather than just continue to make women's divisions because women are growing out of a division, let's actually make sure that we're judging this division as it should be in the rules, not just rewarding the biggest physique on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not men's bodybuilding, like that's not the point in these divisions. Like there are rules and they are distinct to those categories. I mean, I think that with, the introduction of Fit Model, I'm interested to see how it goes over the course of the next couple of years. Now that we're seeing pros, I think they've done a good job so far, kind of keeping things to the category definition right now. But I hope they stay there. I mean, even things like the suit cut, like you always want to push stuff in these categories to emphasize things like, but if they really keep it, then this category will stay what it is. Like people will fit within this category if this is what they like. And kind of that same conversation about the off season look and all that other stuff that goes into liking the division you're in. If they keep it that way, people will stay more loyal to that category.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fine with it making it tougher on the judges to reinforce the criteria that the competitors fitting into a weight class.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
And ultimately, I'm being a little selfish. I just don't want the shows to be any longer than they have to. If that just breaks things up further, it's a pain. But I like the way it's going right now. You know, I think it's fine. I think it's great. There's the genetics on some of these women each year is just more insane and insane. I mean, my wife's a pro, and it's just like her and I still, you know, I'm floored by her physique all the time. And then you just pull up Instagram and it's just like, oh, there's absolute crazy creatures all over the world that you just can't keep up with, you know. Those
wellness chicks blow my mind. Like
my gosh,
it's insane what they're capable of doing. It doesn't even make sense to me when I see it. I'm like, their legs are so fucking big. Like it's awesome. It's so cool. Yeah, it's nuts.
And the way they look in person too, I think that's what so many people who haven't been to shows, like, oh my goodness, the way these people look just walking around.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. Like it is a genetic gift.
That's why I tell everybody, like, if you can go to a pro show, like get there, like try to just see these people in person, because it really puts it into perspective of just like, that's what a professional looks like. Like they're on a completely different level than the rest of the world. And it's wild to actually see.
Yeah.
I think figure sometimes is underappreciated too. I mean, to me, that's like the women's classic bodybuilding. I mean, it's almost ideal in my mind, you know. There's plenty of freaks there. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Now, it kind of breaks my heart that I feel like the figure category is the one that's gotten squished the most in all of the, you know, kind of the growth of the sport. Because I agree, Dave. I mean, like that is the category I'm just mesmerized by when I'm watching it. You know, just the artistry of posing and just the beauty of these women and their upper body, the muscles in the back, and just like they are so gorgeous, and the presentation is so fantastic. I mean, it's I think more people would appreciate that category if they were going to shows and seeing it, because pictures do not do it justice. Like, I can't wait to see Jackie's pro debut. I cannot wait. Like, I am so excited for next year, because I feel like she embodies the category so well.
Yeah, she's
the
excited.
Artistry and the beauty and the symmetry and just everything.
Yeah, we're gonna aim for New York Pro. Stay in the North.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's where she turned pro at the Universe. That's where the New York Pro will be. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Her goal is top.
Dave,
we'll see. Her goal is she's looking for a top 5 in her first show.
Yeah.
So
if you get nationally qualified, Dave, where would you want your first national show to be?
I don't know. I mean, I've already qualified and I haven't done one yet. Yeah. But Paul and I were talking the other day, and I really just kind of have an itch to get. I really want to place first in the New England Championship. I got second in the heavyweight last year, and I think I deserved second. I shouldn't have gotten first. The guy that beat me was great, but I really want to win that show. And but Paul's been convincing me to do Masters Nationals next year in the 35 plus. You know, so I'm 35 now, so I'll be 36 in October. So I think that'll be a good one. If not around the same time, like a couple weeks ahead of time as the Universe itself. So I might do that one. Yeah.
I just realized that when I did my show, I was 34, and I'm like almost 39 now.
Come back, Chase. Come back to the Masters.
Right,
join us in the Masters categories.
I remember back then I was like, oh, if I just wait a few more months, I can do a Masters category. But, wow. Now I'm like, wow. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long ago. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Masters come to play. I mean, especially, I feel like a lot of times the Masters bikini category. I mean, I'm so excited for the Masters Olympia in a couple of weeks. A couple of my friends are competing. And oh my goodness, like these women are still, winning shows overall. And fuck yeah. Like there's an ability of like the muscle maturity to develop, when you're going up against a girl or a woman who's 20 versus someone who is, let's say, between 35 and 42, that kind of sweet spot of muscle maturity. Like, it's hard to beat that. Like they come to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see
Tanya had a couple more thoughts about the weight category too, that just sees inconsistencies in judging, and it would just be girls that were too big for that category. Someone still has to win. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hey, you see some of the best conditioning in some of these masters shows. I mean, some of them are just, it's insane how conditioned these. I mean, the guy that turned pro at 60 years old was one of the most conditioned dudes I've seen in a long time. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, specifically for women also, we do have, I think, a bit of an ability to get a leaner, drier look, but it can almost, you have to be careful because then that can just lead to looking really stringy. Yeah. So there's that, because you don't have as much of that kind of just baby fat, or just that youthful fullness, the fat descends as we age. So you kind of lose some of that like little thin layer of fat that looks really good, but your ability to get really, really, really skinned out lean improves, but you have to be, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
That
For
reminds
sure.
me of, that reminds me of when Jordan Peters' partner, I forget her name. She competed in women's physique, and she didn't win because she was too shredded. Like she was bodybuilder shredded. Like she looked insane, and everybody was like, "Holy crap!" And then she didn't win, and everybody was like, "What the hell?" But they were like, "She was just too peeled." But it looked like she wasn't like too flat. Corinne, yeah, that's right. Yeah. She looked crazy. And they didn't give it to her, and everybody was shocked. But then the judges were just like, she was like bodybuilder lean, not women's physique lean, Yeah, it was kind of shocking, but at least they, stuck to their criteria, I guess you could say. Crazy.
Well, that's key, especially in the women's categories.
Well, we kind of had that scenario with Jackie. She was like 4 weeks out from the universe, and her glutes were literally rippling like waves.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
I'm just like, I don't think you need to go any further at all. Talk to a coach and see what you want to do. But it's same. She was having that problem. She's like, I got to be careful I don't out condition myself out of figure, too far.
I was hearing like, I can't remember if it was on like when I was going through the J3U thing or what, where it's like a common strategy for women would be to like get as lean as they can, like a week or like 2 weeks before the show, and then like put on water weight going into the show to smooth out. I don't know how accurate that is, or if I just pulled that out of my ass, but
there are definitely bikini competitors that they do that. You almost have to blur it a little because you don't want to see like feathering quads on stage when you're a bikini competitor, but you have to get that lean to get the body fat off.
Yeah.
To be able to like see your tie-ins. Like it's such a delicate balance, especially with bikini, because they want visible tie-ins, but they don't want any feathering. So they're, can you get super, super lean so your tie-in show, but then maybe spill just a tiny bit so you have a little bit of film? Yeah.
And you have to be careful too, because sometimes carving someone up to try to address that problem doesn't always make them a little softer. Sometimes it gets them tighter and, harder looking, and now you're going even further against the grain. So there's a scenario where you got to just do what's right for the person. Yeah.
And that's why peaking is not the same for every person. It is so unique. And I think even every prep is different, as I'm sure, you've seen Dave, and, where you start your prep from and where you end your prep are different, and kind of how that peak goes. I mean, little subtle things can make big differences. I mean, thinking back to Paul getting his pro card last year, I mean, he had like a pretty intense overnight of like extreme body depletion. Like, did that make his look better? It certainly made him feel terrible, but did that ultimately make his look what it needed to be? Would he have looked better before that? Even better, just like, you don't know.
Yeah. For Peak and Paul, diarrhea is the best diuretic.
Apparently. Yeah. Like explosive diarrhea all night long is what does it for Paul.
Yeah.
It is there's an art to it, to peaking for sure.
Well, it always makes me chuckle. People like their first show, a lot of times they'll be like, well, what weight do you think I need to aim for? What, how long until this happens? I go, if I knew, this would be a lot easier, but it's literally just going a couple weeks at a time, giving you what you need. And you never know. Like people like Paul, if he could have been very consistent until 4 weeks out, and then he gets that scenario where your metabolism goes into overdrive. And then
Which
if
you
you
kind
have,
of did.
which
Yeah.
you did, yeah. So then you got to
Yeah.
address that, and you don't know if that's going to happen at 4 weeks or 2 weeks or the right at right when you start carbing up. So, or if
Yeah.
carbs don't stick. So there's, you got to be able to go with the flow.
Yeah. And know what to do to not make things worse. I think that for me is kind of always the thought in my head, especially as I get really close to a show. How do I not mess this up? I don't want to get hurt in the gym. Don't want to do something stupid. Like, what can I do to make sure that I stay consistent as possible so that my coach, if they need to change something, it actually works. It does what it's supposed to do, rather than just if you're just, throwing balls at the wall on peak week, you don't know what did it, what didn't do it. Was this the change that it needed?
Well, you said it. The best thing you can do for your coach is to be consistent, to stay consistent.
Right.
Don't give him variables he doesn't know, he's not expecting to happen. So it's like the other thing, like if people are going to do extra cardio or pull a little food on their own, just tell me what's going on so I know how to make adjustments. Playing a guessing game. I mean, half the time you're doing stuff of this, not always in person. You're doing a lot of this coaching online. So I only have the information you give me too. So transparency, good or bad, is huge, So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You ever think you're going to get back on stage?
I don't know. I mean, with the way my schedule is now, no. But, I mean, it would be cool. Yeah, no, it would be cool, but I gotta get shit more organized for myself before I can even think about trying to do what it takes to make that possible, because you got to have your shit together for when you're doing that. And I feel like things are all over the place for me right now.
Yeah.
But eventually, probably,
Yeah. You got to get yourself in a position where, that's the other thing people don't realize is putting yourself in a position to be able to compete is huge. Like schedule, family life, if you get your priorities straight, like if you're putting bodybuilding here and family and job and responsibility here, you're already starting out in the wrong spot, And that's a discussion I have with people. They all want to get on stage and hold a medal, but it's like, hey, the work starts 20 weeks back,
Yeah.
And it starts mentally too before it's physical.
Yeah.
Well, and you want to have a semblance of life left when you step off stage.
Yeah.
You don't want to have burned every bridge in your life.
Yeah, I jumped into it now. Everything else would crumble. Just
Right.
Okay. Oh, what?
Yeah. Well, guys, do you think we covered it for today? Do you think we did Big Paul proud?
I think we did good.
Right?
I think we did all right. I think Anna says it's time to go. We're
It's
good to
nap
go.
time.
It's nap time. Nap time.
Yeah.
Got to get a meal in.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, we do appreciate everyone jumping on. Hopefully Paul's enjoying himself as well on his trip. 8 competitors. Luckily he doesn't have any hair to pull out, so
Right.
that's good.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Is that what he's coaching this weekend?
Yeah.
he had 8 people in the Masters Nationals. So
Oh, cool. Wow.
I think he's heading home today. I don't remember, but
I'm sure he's letting that car drive him. He's probably exhausted. He's been on it since Tuesday. I think he's been there since Tuesday. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That'd be
Awesome. Well, we'll be back to the full AB crew next Sunday.
yeah. Appreciate you joining, Chase.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
So good to see you guys and Miss Anna. All right. Bye, guys.
Be good. Bye-bye.